Hillary Clinton, I must say, has really taken some heat about her book tour, where she rolled out and, amongst other things, said they were dead broke when they left the White House. Peggy, you had a scathing, if I may say so, review of the book and Senator Clinton's kind of book tour here. And so how is she going to turn this around? Because I don't think this was a very good start for her, if I do say so.
Well, I think this was step one in a many-stepped process. I think Mrs. Clinton and her publishers were probably thinking, look, this is a book tour, this is wonderful, it's our opportunity to go out before select audiences and make an impression. But I think some mistakes were made. I think the impression was not so great. The book got almost universally panned. It does not appear to be selling well or according to expectations. It was an essentially banal piece of work. You know, it wasn't really riveting like some former Secretary of State memoirs and histories. And I think also that Mrs. Clinton found something that was probably a little surprising, and it was that the mainstream media, which scrambled for interviews with her, trying to get the first and the longest, they were not at her feet and they were not at her throat. They were distanced and they were probing, and they gave fresh life to such stories as Benghazi. They got her to say, oh my gosh, I guess this IRS thing is a problem. So there was a little wobbliness that I suspect may have startled Mrs. Clinton and probably reminded her what she already knew, which is that running on a national scale is hard, and she just started running.
So what do you think about it, Dee Dee?
I agree with much of what Peggy said, except I think the book got better reviews than you probably did. But she faced, in writing the book and in selling the book, a dilemma that most former Secretaries of State don't face, which is she's still an actor in the public arena, and she is keeping up with the possibility of obviously running for president, and that clearly kind of put some fences around what she felt comfortable saying and how she had to kind of talk about her past with one eye on the future. So that was a challenge. And I think they did start out thinking, this is step one. We're gonna treat this like a book tour. We're not going to let it become a political campaign. She's not running for anything yet. And that proved to be much harder than they expected. And so I think she has, she spent 4 years at the State Department, where for the first time she wasn't treated like a politician, and she really liked that. And I think she wanted to keep that platform going a bit longer. And yet, first of all, she's Hillary Clinton, and second of all, this is a political environment. So she stepped back into the political fray, without, again, trying not to make it be a campaign, but realizing that that's not really possible in this day and age. And being Hillary Clinton, everything's about politics. So I think they have some work cut out for them. It's not too late by any means. This is just the beginning of hasn't declared anything yet, and so it's all fixable. But I think they saw some flaws in the machinery that they need to go back and redress.
Michael, you've worked in the White House. You've also worked outside the White House since you were there with George W. Bush. What do you think this says about Hillary Clinton as a candidate? Is it going to be tougher than maybe some Democrats thought it was going to be?
Well, her sputtering launch, has caused some unfortunate reminders for her. A reminder first, she didn't run a great campaign last time in 2008. She had a chaotic staff. She had high expectations. She was sometimes clumsy. This is just a reminder to people she's not Bill Clinton in a certain way. She's not a perfect candidate. I think she has a strong resume and background, but she's not a perfect candidate. It's also a reminder that very wealthy people have sometimes a tough time talking about money. Mitt Romney had that problem. Hillary Clinton seems to have that problem without even realizing it. I mean, she explained that she had earned her money through dint of effort. Okay, which sounds like a baroness responding to this this question. So I think she has some tin ear problems she's going to have to work on here. I would only add, she also has some foreign policy problems. What does she distance herself from in the chaos of the Middle East? In her book, she distanced herself from the Syrian policy of the president, which I thought was interesting. The most interesting part of the book, by the way, and a not very interesting book. Does she need to do that on some other issues as events in the Middle East unfold? It's going to be interesting. So.
Todd, I'll give you a chance to.
Well, I
weigh
think
in
one of
on
the things that the dead broke comment brought out is Mrs. Clinton's longstanding and to some degree understandable resentment about all the years in which her husband was making $35,000 a year as governor of Arkansas. She was the family breadwinner. She remembers worrying about paying for tuition for Chelsea's college, and she does, I think she has a very resentful streak about the years that she sacrificed. And so she does have a kind of tin ear now about she's quite wealthy and makes $200,000 a speech, but she remembers the hungry years, I think, and in some ways that influences her very much.
But
my
why
goodness.
is it that people that go into politics then resent the fact that they're not making very much money?
Well, I think
Do
it's
make good
it's-
money.
it's
They
a
live in the
voluntary
governor's
exercise.
mansion.
But you remember, Peggy, all
are
those
not
years ago
the
she
hard
complained.
Years. This is not walking to school in the snow.
No, but she complained. I'm not defending her. I'm just saying that years ago she complained to Dick Morris, why can't we have a swimming pool in the Arkansas governor's mansion like normal people do? So it's a long-standing problem for her.
Well, this is like what Arnold Palmer said to Tiger Woods when Tiger Woods talked about how, you know, he was making all this money, and he said, I just can't have a normal life. And Arnold said, well, then give back the money. You'll have a normal life.
It's a good problem to have.
And everybody went on from there.